I am giving you the biggest hug.
Oh my God, I'm giving you one right back, hon. How you doing?
I am so well. How are you?
I'm amazing. I cannot and will not complain.
Listen, you have nothing to complain about. I am so proud
Oh,
of you.
thank you.
It
I
has
appreciate
been
that.
it's been an honor and like a privilege to see it. Now, before we start this conversation,
Yeah.
this is gonna be my first time doing this. I
Oh,
messaged you earlier to tell you I have some people that told me to make sure I tell you hey. And I
all
got to
right,
make sure my
ma'am.
Mississippi family, my auntie is
Yes.
on. Siobhan says, hey, my Tougaloo family, Chandra, Vita, all my Mississippi family, Tougaloo family, everybody says, hey. And of course,
Hey,
the
y'all.
village in
Oh,
Atlanta, all love you.
oh my God. Well, hello, Mississippi. Okay.
Yes, shout out
Very,
to
very good. Okay. Oh,
shout out.
listen. Thank you. And I had so much fun when I came. When I came to the village to y'all's marketplace, that was a spare of the moment thing.
I
I was there on
remember.
business, and my girlfriend was like, "Oh, we going to this thing," and I was like, "Oh, I want to go to that. That sounds amazing." And child
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, I can't wait to get back. I can't wait to get back. What you're doing is amazing." I have taken I don't know, I wouldn't call it your logo, but your tagline, whatever.
Support
But
is a verb.
support is a verb. I have taken that with in my soul and my spirit ever since,
Mm,
because it's the truth. Support is a
yeah.
verb, and I always try to live my life that way, in supporting other people and businesses, especially small businesses. But I just love that. So kudos to you for doing what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, you're not going to do this. This interview is about you, ma'am.
Oh,
But no, I
girl,
so appreciate it. When I can
absolutely.
tell you, when you came to the Village Market last March, I was working. So I'm running around working, and everybody, Doc, Tabitha Brown is here. They're taking things from me so I can come and meet you. And
Oh,
I can tell you, there's one thing that if people have met you, what you exude online, the genuineness, your light is even more bright in person.
oh,
So I
thank you,
really do.
honey.
I do thank you. I thank you for showing up for the village and continuing to keep up with me and giving
Yes,
me love. It means a lot.
absolutely. I always try to, every now and then, I sneak in and make sure you all right. I have to check
You
in on
do.
stage.
It means a lot to me. It means a lot. Now let's jump
Absolutely.
into this conversation because I would tell you when people reflect on COVID and what it has been, there are
Yes.
going to be some sad stories, and then people are also going to remember the light that you have given the world.
Hmm.
You are one of the stories that people would never forget during this time.
Wow.
How did all of this happen? Like what the world has exploded.
It's crazy, right? I sometimes it's exactly what you're saying. It's going to be a lot of sad stories, and it's going to be a
Hmm.
lot of victory stories as well. Um, but I honestly, sometimes in my prayer, I just kind of ask God, did you stop the world for me? Like, what was the plan? Right? Like, my mom passed away, so I always say I got one on the other side that's over there working on my behalf. So my joke is that she up there wearing his shoulder out, like, hey, I got you. I want you to do this for my daughter real quick. I got one more request. Oh, wait a minute, I got one more request, because I was like,
Right.
it's like a flood happened. But I've been working
Yes, you
hard
have.
for quite some time,
Hmm.
and I always tell people I was working while waiting,
Hmm.
and I literally, I had been doing what I've been doing. I was building for the last 2.5 years on my Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. I had really just been consistent. And when my daughter came to me and said, "Mama, you should get on TikTok," I was like, "Girl, why in the world would I get on TikTok? Ain't that for the kids?" And she was like, "No, I just think you got, something fun." And the kids on there, my age, I think they'll look at you like a fun mom or inspiring or whatever. And I was like, "Girl, I don't know about that." And then one of the people I worked with at Whole Foods reached out and was like,
Hmm.
"You ever thought about getting on TikTok?" And I was like, "No, wait a minute. Why she was like, "I just think you have something that you can offer over there." And so I thought, well, my daughter been asking me all week. I wanted to do the renegade. I was like, let me do that dance everybody doing. I want to do that. And so the first video that we did was my daughter trying to show us how to, first of all, work TikTok, because we wanted to do the Renegade, and had no idea, that that was going to go viral and be crazy as the first video. And I
Right.
saw that, I was like, well, you know what? Let me see how this works. And I did my first cooking video on March
Mm-hmm.
9th on TikTok. And it pretty much really quick went viral. And so when I saw the comments from
Like
the
really,
kids,
really, really, like
I
y'all, it
mean,
exploded.
the first week, right? The first week we had
Yes.
like 1 million views or so. And I thought,
Right.
but the thing that I was reading the comments, because I need to see who this new audience is,
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm reading their comments, and these kids are saying, oh my God, I love you. You're like a mom. You're like my auntie. You make my anxiety go away. You feel like a
Mm-hmm.
hug. And so that in that moment, that felt like this is my responsibility. We're living in
Mm-hmm.
some weird times. And as the weeks went on, we started living in a pandemic. And I
Right.
thought, I got to take this as responsibility, because in a world where all this chaos is happening, some people may only have 1 minute a day that they get a little bit of peace of mind, a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
joy, maybe a little bit of laughter. And I wanted to be that. And so when
Right.
people tell you what they need, when they're vocal about it, we must listen and give them
Mm-hmm.
that. And so I said, well, I'm going to just keep doing it and, try to help in my own way with laughter and love and food and inspiration. And that's what I started doing. And I always have been, the person who gives like an inspiring quote, or I call them my
Mm-hmm.
TSA, my tab service announcements, right? And so I was like, I got to give that to TikTok, and they need it too. And so I started doing those. And, in a month, I had 1 million followers. In 30 days, I got 1 million followers. And 1 week after that, I hit 2 million. And now at 2 months, I'm at 3 million. And
Wow.
it just blew up. It just blew
Yeah.
up a whole nother, kids, honey. They say the children are
They
our future,
know.
child. Listen,
They know.
they took it and ran with it for me. I'm so forever grateful for that.
But you know what I can say is something that you mentioned. It appears to be overnight, but it's not.
Oh no,
Yes,
no,
this
girl.
has been a journey. For those of us
Yeah.
who follow you for years, have been on a journey. You put us all on to that amazing sandwich at Whole Foods. You know,
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
can we talk? Because I know the village market is full of entrepreneurs. And there
Yes.
are people that's waiting for what I call when all the elements align together. Like,
Yes.
yeah, when the prayers begin to aspire with reality and everything
Right.
hits. What has that journey been for you? And even like before Whole Foods, what was
Right.
that journey? Mm-hmm.
I just had this conversation with one of our friends, me and my husband, his best friend from college, right? His name is Tyrone. And he called, he was like, man, this is crazy. You've been pursuing this since 98. When I met you, you were saying, man, I'm going to be an actress. Like
Can you
that was
say that one more time? Can you give that date one more time?
1998.
Come on.
Okay. And
Right.
he said to me, he said, you know what, the craziest thing, he was like, on paper, you're crazy. He said,
Mm.
verbally, you're crazy, right? He said, because listen, if somebody told you, hey, look, I will make your dreams come true, but you need to give me 22 years. You'd be like, man, I ain't doing that. 22 years? I ain't got 22 years to wait on somebody's dream. But that's what I've done.
Mm.
I've been pursuing since 1998. I've been dreaming since I was 6 to be an actor, to be a performer. But I've been pursuing it, trying to figure it out, jumping the hurdles, taking the classes, working for free, learning and working while waiting for 22 years. And
Wow.
it was not easy. There were many days that I thought I gave up, but it wouldn't let me. The things still always lived inside of me. I always tell people, if you think about something more than twice in a day, you're supposed to do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's there for a reason. It lives inside of us. And so even when I thought, you know what, I've missed my moment. I can't do this, Especially, I had moved in 98. I moved to California for the first time, but I was in
Wow.
Orange County, nowhere near Hollywood. But my mama knew somebody and told me I could come out there and rent a room. And so what she didn't tell me is what she was crazy. She didn't tell me that part. But I moved out there, and I was 19, thinking I was close to Hollywood, and I was almost 2 hours away. had to work 2 jobs to live in this room. I was having to pay all her bills, the majority. And my husband told me when he came out there 3 months after, he was my boyfriend at the time, and he moved out 3 months after because our plan was to get our own place. But I didn't tell him how bad everything was. And when he got there, he was like, "This is insane. You ain't even able to save money. You ain't nowhere near Hollywood. You ain't doing no acting." He was like, "Let's move back to North Carolina for 1 year, save up enough so that we can move to Los Angeles and you can really pursue your dreams." And I thought, okay, this sounds like a good plan. So the 1 year plan of moving back to North Carolina turned into 5 years. A
Wow.
baby, marriage, house, cars, jobs, all these new responsibilities, and a forgotten dream. I really convinced myself that, when you're from a small town, baby, you have a baby early, forget about it. Forget about it.
Right.
You got to live the traditional life, and not that anything is wrong with that, but it's done so much that that is what looks like it's normal. And so,
Absolutely.
right. And so I really stopped thinking about it. I was like, I can't do nothing with that. So ain't no need of me even thinking about it. Right. And I remember I was one morning shaken awake in my sleep. Something shook my bed and woke me up. And I felt like my skin was burning on the outside of my body. And I heard a voice that sounded like thunder. And it said to me, "This is not the life I planned for you." And it
Mm.
scared me. It scared me. I mean, you ever heard a voice that sounded like thunder? Like it was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. And I remember I got out of the bed and I started praying. I was like, "God, if this is you speaking to me, I need you to show me a sign today. Because if not, I'm about to go into this crazy house and just throw myself at the door like y'all going to take me into one of these padded rooms, okay?"
Right.
And so later that day, I was on my way to the mall with my husband. I had told him what happened. And he didn't really believe me. He was kind of like, "Okay, babe, like you probably was dreaming." I was like, "I wasn't dreaming. I was awake. I heard this." And so on the radio, the DJ was Buster Brown. He came on. He was like, "Hey, this is Buster Brown. I just got a new TV show on the WB network and I'm holding auditions looking for a female co-host." Honey, I almost tore the car up. I went crazy in the car. I was like, "That's my sign. I told God I need the sign today. That's my sign." We in Greensboro, North Carolina. There was never any auditions. And I ended up going to that audition and I booked that job. And that's what
Wow.
got me dreaming again, right? I started, I was a host. So I was a co-host and I would interview all the artists when they would come to town and do concerts. So LL Cool J was my first interview. I interviewed Nas, Lil Kim, like Lil Jon,
Wow.
all of those people of that era, right? And it is the thing, that burning feeling I had felt on the outside of my skin started burning on the inside and it started feeling good. And I started dreaming again and I started doing theater again in Greensboro. And I would drive 3 hours just to do extra work on One Tree Hill in Wilmington, just so I would know what it was like to be on a movie set. I was preparing myself for something. I just didn't know what. But I knew God has shown me this. I gotta go. I gotta go for it. And after I did that for about a year, I
Right.
told my husband, "Now it's time to move back to Los Angeles." And he was like, we got a house and we had this baby 3 years old. Like, we can't, what you talking about? I was like, "Listen, I done heard the voice of the Lord, okay?" I gotta go. And so I told him, I was like, "I'll come back and forth. I'll come back and forth if need be." He was like, "No, you can't do that. So let's plan it out." And so we
Mhm.
planned it and we saved up $8,000. And in 2004, we moved back to Los Angeles. And so, when you
Wow.
heard this voice of God, you feel like, "Oh man, when I get there, it's about to be on. Ooh, it's
Mhm.
about to be on." And I got there, and honey, it won't on. Won't nobody waiting on me. Did nobody know me? Okay, I had to start from scratch, but I was just so excited to finally be on the path, right? And no sooner than a couple months after getting there, my mom got sick, and
Yeah.
she was diagnosed with ALS. And then my whole world stopped all over again. And you only get one mom, right?
Mhm.
And so it was way more important than a career or pursuing my dream at that moment. And so I went back and forth to North Carolina for the next 3 years until my mom passed away. I was helping to take care of her. And then after going through that, you realize how short life really is.
Mhm.
And I really jumped into acting after that, and I did a lot of like small victories, right? Little feature films that would go straight to Blockbuster back when we had a Blockbuster, okay?
Right.
And commercials, music videos. I did a lot of little things, but small victories, but never the big break.
Mm-hmm.
But I still was persistent. I still took acting classes all the time. I was still in it, even while working, you know. And
Right.
my husband and I one day decided we wanted to have another baby. And so I was like, you know what, honey, what I know about Hollywood is it ain't going nowhere. So let's go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to enlarge our family and let's try for the son that he wanted and we both wanted. And I got pregnant with my son and I told him, I was like, we need some steady money coming in. So I went and got a 9 to 5 so that I would have, money coming in. And the goal was 2 years I'll stay there. And when the baby is 1, I can jump back into trying to act full time. And of course, that 2 years it didn't work out that way. I got stuck
Right.
because baby, new responsibilities financially, I could not leave. And then I started getting sick, back in 2016 while I was working.
I
And
read that.
yeah, and then I
Mm-hmm.
went out on disability. I was on disability for a year and a half. I was sick. I thought I was going to die.
Mm.
And it literally changed my whole life. I went into a very dark place for quite
Mm.
some time and was right hopeless, for a little while. Wasn't really
Wait,
believing.
but because I'm leading the conversation there, but I want to make sure that the entrepreneurs don't miss three key things that I heard you say. That
Yes,
it took you 22 years to feel the dreams that you dreamt when you were 6 years old.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, to feel them and to see
Yes,
the fruit of the labor. Another
absolutely.
thing that I heard you say is that you have allowed yourself to be flexible and
Yes,
you have pushed yourself to learn. You haven't been resistant to change because
right,
your daughter told you about TikTok and you was
right.
like, let's do it. I saw the
Yeah,
video when she was teaching you how to do it. So I
yeah,
think your willingness to always learn and be flexible regardless of the time is such a teachable moment. And
absolutely.
that you heard the voice of God, but you also heard like, wait, did you really hear God? And you
Right.
had to trust what you heard the first time.
Yes,
And I think that is powerful for entrepreneurs to understand, like, know when it's the voice.
yes,
Even if everybody else like, you tripping, but
honey.
that's the
Let
voice.
them talk.
You're right.
Let them talk. And the other thing I always tell people, especially artists, or creative minds,
Hmm.
living builds character,
Yes.
right? So we must live our life while building the character of
Mm.
ourselves. Because if we don't pursue, if we don't open our mind and say, you know what, let me work this little job right now. But as long as you know what your big picture is, it don't matter about all the little jobs you have to take in the process to get where you're going.
Absolutely.
That is just building your character. That is what's going to tell your story. So
Yeah.
some people be like, I don't want to get stuck in no job. As long as your mental doesn't get stuck, honey, you can work a job that will help afford you to pursue your dream, that'll help
Hmm.
afford you to open your business. We have to be in that mentality and be open to it and know that it's okay. And don't worry about what other folk think. When I first moved to LA, I worked at Macy's for 5 years,
Wow.
right? Macy's in Century City to be exact. And every day on my lunch break, I would walk the block because it's right there in Century City, Beverly Hills area. And there's a street called Avenue of the Stars. And on Avenue of the Stars is CAA, Creative Arts Agency, right? I would walk,
Wow.
I would walk that block and I would look at that building and I say, "Oh God, one day, God, I'm gonna be there one
Wow.
day." And I'm now signed with that agency.
I know.
2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2000, I was there,
Yeah.
right? So,
But do you see, like, you didn't even have to put that on your your vision board. God put that in proximity to you, so
right, he put
you
it in
could
your
see
vision.
it.
See,
Yes,
that's the thing. A lot of people think that they got to have the vision board. No, you just got to have the
absolutely.
vision.
Have to have the vision.
You just got to have the vision. And my eyes have always been open. And look, and they big. Okay, so I've been seeing things very clear for a long time. And I do also understand that, and I truly believe everyone is gifted, but
Hmm.
everyone is not ready to open their gift.
Right.
Right? My gift, I have a gift of seeing things that others can't see. I have a gift of dreaming that I've always had since I was a child. And I'm so open to it. I used to run from it. I used to be very afraid of it because I would have to tell people things that I didn't feel comfortable telling them. And it's scary when you have a gift that affects other people. And I ran from it for a very long time. But now, honey, I embrace it. And when you
Which is
embrace your gift,
beautiful.
when you
Which is
embrace your gift,
beautiful.
I'm telling you, it opens doors for you.
And I
And they
think
say the gift will make room for us, child.
absolutely the gift will make room for us, our work make room for us, and our humbleness. I
Yes.
think your ability to stay open just speaks to the reason why you can consume light, because you allow yourself to be open to receive it. And then
Yes.
it literally jumps right out of you. I think
Oh, I'm
that
glad
is,
for that.
yeah, that's a part of who you are. I really want to talk. You mentioned going through a darkness in 2016, and
Mhm.
if I understand, in 2016 you also started your vegan journey.
I
Um,
started in 2017 is when I
in
started.
2017.
Yep.
But can we talk about that darkness and what led you in 2017 with this plant-based journey? And before you answer that, I can tell you in my own life, I've been plant-based now for a number of years. And what led me down that journey was me fighting to keep my mother alive.
Mm.
And so the medicine wasn't working. None of these things were working. And I was like, we have to try something else. We
Yeah.
have to try something that we can trust, and we can trust plants. And I remember the darkness that I went through to
Mm.
get to eating plants and trusting the plants. So can we talk about your experience in 2016 that led you to 2017?
Well, I woke up one morning. Now, mind you, I had a car accident in high school, right? I flipped
Mm.
my truck, honey. Flipped my truck trying to go get some Kentucky Fried Chicken. The Lord was telling me then to leave that chicken alone, but I did not. Okay. I flipped my truck. Okay. When I was 16, I had a car accident, flipped my truck. So I have always had injury, where I probably didn't get the right therapy that I should have got or whatever. So I've always had what I call a bad neck. I'll wake up sometimes with that stiff neck feeling, and I was used to that. But this particular morning in January of 2016, I woke up, the back of my neck hurt, and it went into the back of my head. And that pain rested there for 1 year and 7 months. Um,
Wow.
I literally, it started as this headache, but then it also evolved into chronic pain throughout my body, chronic fatigue. I would sleep all day, all night, just had no energy. My body just started to attack itself. All my lady stuff started shutting down. They thought I was going through early menopause. They could not figure out why my body was attacking itself. I took so many MRIs on my brain, my whole body, my spine, my blood tests. Then they thought, oh, maybe it's hereditary. Maybe she has ALS like her mom and it's showing in different forms. Everything that could scare the life out of you, honey, it did to me. And I really thought, I'm not going to get through this.
Mm.
Uh, and, I'm from the South, and my mama was a pastor. So I pride myself on being a woman of faith.
Right.
I lost my faith for a while because I
Mm.
was in so much pain every single day, and could not get well. And when you go to the doctor every week and every month, and they keep telling you everything comes back normal, we don't know what to tell you. Try this drug, try this steroid, try this, try that, and nothing happens other than the reaction to the drug that makes you even sicker. And I was exhausted. I was so tired. And then on the other side of that, I was still trying to pretend I was okay, for my family, for
Right.
social media. Let me still take a picture. Let me post something,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And as a mom and a wife, you don't want your family to worry. But I remember one
Right.
night of trying to hide it for so long, how bad I was really feeling, how scared I really was. I went to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and my legs collapsed under me, and I couldn't get up. I fell into the floor, and I had to scream for my husband to come and pick me up out of the floor to put me back into the bed. And that was kind of my breaking point, where I was just like, God, I don't want to do this no more. Why did you even keep waking me up? Why? Why am I even still here? And I was just defeated. I was at
Mm-hmm.
a really dark place, and I thought, I took care of my mom, and I saw my mom go from being this amazing, beautiful woman to being trapped inside of her body, you know, with Lou Gehrig's
Mm-hmm.
disease, a terrible disease to see people go through. And I thought, everything I've been through, God, you brought me all this way for it to end here like this. And I was upset. I was, you know, having major anxiety, not able to pursue my dreams in that time when I thought that I was just about to get right back in there. And, you know, I had just started doing stand up. I had just came back from Sundance. Life was seeming to start to pick up. And then all of this
Right.
started happening. And I just got, I don't know, hopeless, you know. But I would still pray, but I won't believe in what I was praying. And then so one day I had my coming to Jesus moment in my bathroom where I really took time and looked at myself in the mirror. And I don't know if you've ever did that before, but to look at yourself in the eyes for a long period
Mm-hmm.
of time is really the only way you can see your soul. And
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable.
It
It's
is.
a very
Yes, it
uncomfortable
is.
place to be in, especially, look, even when you're happy, but when you're
Mm-hmm.
not, oh, baby, it's an uncomfortable feeling. But I had to,
And really, when people think you're happy, but you know you're not,
and you know you're not.
and you know you're not,
No, you're not, honey. In a room full of people, you feel alone.
you feel
Okay,
alone.
you feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
But I got in the mirror and I really searched hard for my soul. And I had a conversation with God, and I told him, I said, God, I have not been faithful in my prayer.
Mm.
I have not been honest with you. I have not believed that you hear me or would heal me. But right now, I'm saying to you, God, if you heal me, you can have me. You can have me and do whatever you want with me. Whatever you ask of me, I will do. And I meant it in that moment. I meant it. And I just released something that day in my bathroom. And a couple weeks later is when I had a dream, and I saw myself in this dream. And on in this dream, I was on a TV show, and my hair was like short and like a little afro, and I was free. I spoke with my accent. I looked like I looked mad. I looked so happy
Right.
because before I would always wear my hair long and straight. It was natural, but I pressed it,
Mm-hmm.
honey, pressed it. It was oppressed. Okay, that's what I always tell people. My hair was oppressed. It wouldn't, honey. Donna wouldn't do nothing no more, honey. She was just laid like this, honey. She didn't have no life in her. And I always cover my accent because I was told to do that. I was always starving myself
Mm-hmm.
because, or taking diet pills or taking shots, doing anything to stay thin because this is what I was told Hollywood wanted. But not in this dream. In this dream, I was me. And so when I woke up, I prayed because, you know, like I said, I'm gifted in dreaming and my dreams always mean something. And so when I woke up, I prayed and I said, now, God, I'm not auditioning right now. I ain't in no shape to go out and do stand up. I'm not doing any of the things that could get me a TV show. What that? Reveal that to me. And that's when I heard a voice that said, start doing videos. And honey, I was offended. Start doing videos.
Right.
No, I ain't gonna do no video. And then he reminded me, he said, remember 2 weeks ago when you said, if I heal you, you'll do whatever I ask. And I was thinking, well,
Mm.
you caught me on a bad day that day. And the other side of my brain was like, well, you ain't healed me yet. I'm still sick. But I was like, all right, I'm going to live a life of obedience and I'm going to do it. And so I first started doing videos, telling the same stories I would tell on stage as a comedian about being a wife and a mom, sitting on my bed, honey, just telling stories. And then after I decided to go vegan, I literally heard the same voice that whispered in my ear and said, now tell people what you're eating. And that's the only reason I ever started doing videos. But I had to go through
Wow.
a super duper dark space
Mm-hmm.
to get to the light. But if we can see a crack of the light, if we could just see a crack, just a crack, we know that light still exists. And that was the hope that I saw in my soul when I had that moment in my bathroom. And because if I had lost all hope, I wouldn't have even suggested to God, let me give you this deal I'm working with, God. If you heal me, I'll do whatever you ask, right? But I still had some piece of hope. So if you can find just a piece
Right.
and work towards that, it could possibly just change your life, because that's what it did for me. But it brought
Yeah.
me out of the dark period that I was in, and
You
I'm so thankful for that.
You know, my grandmother says all the time, we talked about dark periods, and I always would ask her, why do I have, when my mother died, I struggled.
Hmm.
And so I always asked her, was I going to be okay? I didn't ask anybody else but my grandmother and God, because
Yeah,
I felt they knew. I felt
yeah,
they knew, yeah, would I be okay? But my grandmother always said, when you go solo, at any glimpse of light, you will learn to hold on to it,
that's right.
and you would grab it, and your job is to make it brighter. So I take that every time I feel low myself, like, oh, there's a peak, there's that peak of light shining through, let me grab it and let me make it lighter.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, and the other part about that, when you get so low, honey, I think he just intends for us to be on our knees. Sometimes he
absolutely.
got to take us all the way down there so we can get on there, get on the knees, and get a little bit more comfortable being down there for a little while,
Right.
so that we can hear him more clear, so we can see things more clear. Um, and that's, I mean, but I wouldn't trade it for nothing. I wouldn't trade the dark period,
Mm.
because it's who made me today. It's why I can identify with people who are in the dark space, who are suffering from depression, who are suffering from anxiety, loss of loved ones, lack of love, all those things. And I'm
Hmm.
so thankful that I was able to go through that, and that God brought me through it so that he could use me, for the betterment of our people, for love and peace of mind, and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful to be used. I would do it all over again.
And so you can, to me, one thing that I commend you for, I am very proud to be plant-based, but that's not something I lead with. It's just something I allow people to ask me questions. Like, why your skin look like that? Because I eat plants.
Right,
Um, and I drink
right,
water, and I mind my
right.
business.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's my business, y'all.
Because I'm right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
one thing that I love that you do, you're not trying to convert people into being plant-based. You
Never.
meet people where they are and you love them in that space. And I
Absolutely.
think that is the gift of any teacher. Not condemning people for not being plant-based, things that they don't know, things that they don't do. And I think it's because
Yeah.
you literally continuously do the work.
Absolutely. I never understand people who are judgmental, or
Me either.
forceful when it I don't get it.
Hmm.
And I understand, but what I do understand is that they're hurt people, right? They're
Right.
hurt people. People who try to force a judge people for whatever they're doing, they hurt themselves. But it doesn't work. It's just like folks trying to force somebody to go to church. You got to go to church. You gotta, honey. Somebody that my granny used to do that to me, and I'd be like, I ain't going to, granny, no, no. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear nobody throwing Bible verses. You don't want to hear nobody telling you what to eat. But if you get somebody who can show you a fun moment through a recipe, tell you a story, you can that's how you get people's attention.
That's how you
I always
get it.
tell people,
Absolutely.
food is, we love food. So if I can get their stomach, okay, then I can get their ear. If I can get their
Mm.
ear, then I can get their heart. But that's how it works. So I get their stomach through the food, all right, get their
Right.
ear, and then I get the heart. But that's the only way you can make a difference, is by loving people, making people feel welcome, being open to
Hmm.
everybody, no matter their color, no matter their religion, no matter how they live their life. We must love everybody and make everybody feel welcome. That's what we're all here
Right.
to do. That's why we all have a heart. God designed us with a heart. So that means we're supposed to be caring beings naturally. Why else would we have a
Absolutely.
heart? Yeah,
And why else
absolutely.
would
I
we
can't.
have
I'll never forget.
opportunity?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's talk
Yes.
about this black love, and that you have, and it's right. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
We're gonna claim that you're
Oh.
gonna be on an episode of Black Love that comes on. It's a beautiful story of love and faith and testament, that you got your now husband to move across the country
Honey,
in
for the second
pursuit
time.
for the second time. That's some
For the
love right
second
there.
time.
For the
Yes.
second time. And so let's talk about your love experience and how you are intentionally making sure your family comes with you. As you welcome us into your home, we get to see the glimpse of how much your family loves you and how much you love your family.
Well, I am not me without my foundation, right? My family is my
Hmm.
foundation. My daddy always taught me, he said, you can build a whole house if you got a solid foundation. If the house burned down, the foundation's still there. You can always,
Mm.
rebuild as long as you got foundation. But if you don't have your foundation and the house falls, honey, you got to start completely over and figure something else out. But my family is my foundation. Is where I begin and it's where I end. The start of my day and the end of my day. And I'm nothing without them. And so it would not be right or honest of me not to include them because they are me. They are all an extension of me. My husband, I've been with for 22 years, and
Wow.
he has been with me on every step of this journey, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And honey, that is my best friend. And my daughter and my son, it's just God chose me to be their mother, and I take it very, very serious. And I always tell people, this the tab you always want to see. But you mess with my husband, my children, and my money, honey, Benita come out. That's my middle name. I'm like, you don't want to ever see Benita, okay?
So we know
Don't you
then.
mess with them things, okay? Honey, don't you do that. But
Right.
that's just it's only right. It's only right. And I can't build an empire if I don't include them. I'm teaching my daughter how to be a businesswoman, how to live her dream
Wow.
and how to make it happen. My son is only 8, but I'm teaching him little things at a time. And just to be open to the world and allow the world to work for you. We don't have to know every single thing that we want. But if we allow ourselves to be open, the world will show you things and it will bring things to you. Like if I wasn't open minded, I would never, even have tried uh, a plant based life. I'd have never watched a documentary, What the Health. I'd have never did any of those things. But we got to have an open
What the
mind.
health will shake you awake.
Honey, listen, it
Yeah.
changed my life. It changed my life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
How have you all balanced you being obedient to your dreams and the things that you see in HD? How have you balanced the giving to your husband, giving to your children? How have y'all made space for the growth that you all are all experiencing? Because one thing that I hear from my friends who are married and who are entrepreneurs, they struggle with how do I create space for myself and my dreams and still
Mhm.
give to my family?
In my house, family is first,
Hmm.
period. It's just, it has to be that way for me. Uh, it's me first, then them, and then everything else, right? And I have to put me first so I'm okay, right? And as long as I do that, the balance will always fall into place. But a lot of
Right.
times and I did it wrong for a long time, not putting me first. So I wasn't full enough to be the best wife, the best mom, the best entrepreneur, the best actress. But we have to put ourselves first so that we know how to move. If I put me first, then I know what my family needs because now I got a sound mind. I'm clear and I understand. But everything in this house is first. And then I have a schedule. We work it out. Me and my husband, we partners. My daughter now, she's 18, honey. That's my partner too. We work it out and we work together in this house. That's how it goes. And that's how it will be. And as we continue to grow and get staff and, people coming on board now that I have like a whole team, I have a team of 25 people now that are great, mind blowing.
Come on, territory.
Listen, when I say when you say they are
Wow.
prayer, literally, I just talked to my managers today, and they were like, we just counted your whole team. It's 25 people working every day for
Wow.
you, which is mind blowing, right?
Wow.
But as we grow, we have to know what that looks like as a family. We all have to be informed. I can't be the only one that knows everything that's going on. So I
Mm-hmm.
include them. So that's what makes it work. That's the balance. And then when the time comes, honey, it's called vacation. Honey, Lord, let me get a little getaway. Me and my husband, we have to have our time. And our kids have to understand and respect that parents need time away from their kids. They need time to make sure that they're good together because they still husband and wife, not just mom and dad. And then we
Mm-hmm.
also have our family time, vacation time, right? So it's day by day, but you figure it out. And you also have to figure out what works for your family, what works for your household. But we can't forget about each other in the process of doing a lot of work.
I have a question. I want to go back to the voice that you heard, and how can people identify the difference between the voice of God, intuition, and the voice of ego?
Listen, I always say, because it's a little difficult for me because I hear differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I always tell people, he confirms his word. He confirms his word. You ever had a thought or something that's been sitting in your spirit, and
Mm-hmm.
somebody that you ain't never, ever, ever talked to about none of this says, have you ever thought about doing such and such? And it's the exact same thing that you've been hearing.
Yes.
That's confirmation,
Mm-hmm.
right? I
Right.
remember for years, the craziest thing for years, even in North Carolina, I would be in a grocery store or be it, in a drive through, just different places, and people would say, don't I know you? People I've never, ever, ever came in contact with. I know you, right? I'm like, no. And then people would say, but aren't you on TV? And I'm like, no. But in the back of my head, I would hear a voice say, they see your destiny. That's confirmation.
Mm.
So God sends confirmation in different ways. Ego won't ever send confirmation. When you are forcing it, that's ego. When it don't ever feel right completely, that's ego. But when things, even when they're not going smooth, but you still have something inside of you that says, wait a minute, I still can figure it out. Let me try another way. Let me try something else. And then something comes to confirm it. That's it. But he will send confirmation. He'll send confirmation.
Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
would tell you that some things of our experience that you could have the perception of one of the best days, but you go home and you feel like something is on you.
Yes.
And I think that's how we know when it's not from God.
Yeah.
If it's not a joy that's inside of us coming out, but we feel like something is literally on our spirit, then we know.
It's heavy.
That's not yeah, it's heaviness. It's
Yes.
heaviness when the world assumes that we feel so much joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I always tell people, when you have those moments where you wake up in the morning, it's time to go to work, and you struggle. You
Yes.
struggle.
I
Oh
did
God.
that for a long time.
Honey, me too. You struggle to get out of the bed. Honey, you thinking of all types of ways you can call in. When the last time I called in? Or what can I say? You just hate, your head starts hurting. The thought of going to that job, the thought of doing whatever that thing is, that lets you know that you're not living in the moment that you're supposed to be in. That may be your temporary, a temporary part of your puzzle, but you got to actively do the work that drives you inside, that gives you peace and happiness. Because if you
Right.
don't work on that stuff, honey, then you're going to be waking up every day in that same mood, just miserable.
And there are some people who are so excited by your journey.
Mm.
How do they take the inspiration from your journey and the fuel from your journey, but still run their own race and not try to adapt their momentum to yours? How do people anchor in and trust their pace, even by being inspired by you?
Well, listen, we'll go back to remind them it took me 22 years. I don't want listen, I'd rather somebody get it before 22 years.
Right.
I, I'd rather they race not be that long, okay? But I always tell people, only I can live my life and only you can live yours, right?
Absolutely.
So therefore, what God has for you is for you. And it's inevitable. It will still happen. I remember my mom used to tell me, she said, not even death can stop your purpose.
Mm.
Not even death.
Wow.
Because she used to always tell me, my mama told me before she passed, she said, listen, when I'm gone, people going to still know my name because of you. And I didn't really understand. She said, not even death can stop with God, my story that will be told. But I talk about my mama all the time. I have a whole documentary, all this footage and stuff that I took of her while she was still living. Her books she
Wow.
was writing, all her journals. And I'm like, oh, she knew exactly what she was talking about. I do so many
Mm-hmm.
videos. People know my mama is Patricia. They know Miss Patricia Blackstock Johnson. Not even death can stop your purpose, honey. So, but
Ah, that's good.
if you know who you are, you don't have to look at nobody else's journey and say, oh, I want to try to do it exactly like that. You're going to fail every time. You got to do it exactly like you, how
Mm-hmm.
God purposed you to do it. Now, I can be
Right.
inspiration, and I'm thankful for that. But I can be inspiring, but I can't be duplicated. None of
Now
us
that's a
can.
word.
Yeah. I can
That's
be
a word.
inspiring, but I cannot be duplicated. I listen, trust me, I wish I had two of me myself. Child. But
Well, you know what?
yeah.
You don't need two of you anymore. God sent you 25
Oh,
for
well,
the one
hello.
of you.
Hello. Lord have mercy. Yes.
We are so running out of time, and I want to make sure that we hear. One person told me to make sure I ask you, what is next? Are we going to be able to buy your utensils? Are we going to see you on television? Let the village in. What is next for the amazingness, the wonder of your life?
Right. Well, for 10 years on my vision board, I have always said I want to be America's mom. Always. I've always
You're the
said
world's
I want to.
mom.
Right. But I want this TV show where I am Claire Huxtable meets Roseanne right in the middle. That would be my show. Right. I've always had this concept. And now I'm developing that. I'm in development for my own script comedy
Wow.
as America's mom, uh, and a show that's
Wow.
loosely based on my life. And so, yeah, that is happening, along with a docu-series for my family, so that people can see what it is like to live in the day-to-day life with the Browns.
Right.
And working on a couple other shows. I'm definitely working on a cookbook. I'm definitely working on my own kitchen stuff. So many things God is blessing me to be able to do. And I'm just so thankful for that. But yeah, honey, you're going to see me. It's going to be plenty of tab. It's going to be
Right.
plenty of me out there, child.
Well, don't worry. We are locked in. Support is the word. Where you go, we go.
Yes.
And we are the village. I can speak on behalf of all these great comments that I'm seeing. The Not just your family, not just your people from North Carolina.
Yeah.
I can happily say that you have millions of people literally praying that you are protected, that your family is protected, and that you exceed your wildest, unimaginable dreams, the things that's going to make you get on your knees and cry because God is so good, because you're so
Yeah.
deserving of it.
Thank you so much.
You're
And I
so
appreciate
deserving.
that. I received that. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so you can send everybody home. Give everybody a word. Give everybody one of those tab gems.
Honey, I close out the same way, and I'll
Hmm.
close it out the same with y'all,
Let's do it.
honey. But thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you,
Mhm.
and I love you. I appreciate you
I
from the
love you too.
first time I met you, honey. Your energy is just pure light and love, and I appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Continue to do what you're doing. Continue to follow the light that you know,
Hmm.
and your purpose is being done and fulfilled. So very good. I know your mother's very proud of you. So very,
Yes.
very good. And on that note, honey, y'all all going about y'all business, baby. Have the most amazing day. But honey, even if you can't have a good one, don't you dare go messing up nobody else's. Him.
Yes. I love you. Take good
I love
care.
you too, hon. I'll
Y'all,
talk to you
thanks for
soon.
tuning in. Talk to you soon. Y'all,
All
thanks
right.
for tuning in. Go purchase merch from Tab. It's in the bio.
Yes, please.
Yes, it's in the bio. So just click on it. She has so many
Yeah.
amazing apparel there. Go support. Support is a verb. I love y'all. See y'all next week. Take
All
good
right.
care, Tab.
Bye, you too.
Bye.